personal. It's personal between me and you, and I'm going to do you some serious harm, you big stiff idiot.
The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, this is a follow-up video to my recent video I just did on what was a modern-day classic, an all-time classic. It was Riddick Bowe, Evander Holyfield #1, but the super bantamweight version. I did a video about, Luis Nery versus Azar Hovhannisyan. Great fight, classic fight. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Take the time. I promise you, it'll be worth it. Luis Nery got an 11th round stoppage over Azar Hovhannisyan in what was the signature fight of his career. And I'll be honest with you, with that one fight, he has completely changed the narrative on his career. I mean, he's always been a top fighter, Luis Nery. No mistakes about it. He's always been a top fighter. But then when you factor in the consistent unprofessionalism he's displayed in his career, from losing, not making weight multiple times to failing the drug test against Shinsuke Yamanaka, it's left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth, and even my mouth. I've always kind of been put off to Luis Nery because of that, and obviously those things are still there. But boxing is a big reflection of life, and how many times do all of us as people make mistakes that we wish we didn't make? I'm sure for the viewers out there listening to me watching this, I'm sure in your own life you've made mistakes, you've done things, you've said things to, your family members or your friends or your spouse or your girlfriends or ex-girlfriends that you regret, and you wish you could have done things differently, but you can't because life ain't like that. So you got to move forward and just try to be your best self moving forward, right? And so that's what Luis Nery has done. I think he's done it in a great fashion, following the debacles of the Yamanaka fights and losing the title on the scales to other fighters and whatnot. And he's delivered a signature performance that I feel like it genuinely warrants him to be in that mix of fighting the Naoya Inoue, Stephen Fulton winner. Now, you guys know it's the road to Japan. I'm gonna go to Japan. I'm gonna go to Japan for Inoue versus Fulton. That's a fight that I can't wait for. It's one of the biggest fights in boxing, right? Hell of a fight. Gonna be a great occasion. It is the Super Bowl of this weight class, because these guys have done their thing. But when the dust settles on that, whether Fulton wins or whether Inoue wins, I think Luis Nery, with a fight like that, classic fight like that, with the style he has, with being having some of that Mexican fan base as well, doesn't hurt. With the fight he just delivered, with him being WBC mandatory challenger, he's put his name in the hat. He's really, I know it's one thing to before this fight say, oh, well, I want to fight Inoue and Fulton. It didn't really hold that kind of weight with me before the Azar Hovhannisyan fight. But now, after that kind of a performance in a HBO boxing after dark quality type of a fight, like a Gotti Ward, Bowe Holyfield type of a classic fight, I think he has effectively thrown his name into the hat for Inoue Fulton. Now, Pantera has been very vocal about both Fulton and Inoue. He wants those fights. In an article about, because I was going back and I was looking up some of the things he said a couple weeks ago about Inoue and Fulton, and specifically about Inoue, because he really had a lot to say about Inoue, the monster. Here's what Luis Nery said about the monster. He stated the following, and I quote, "Naoya Inoue lacks to be the pound-for-pound best. He is an overrated fighter, but time will put us on the road, and he will have to face me. We are both at 122 pounds, and he is going to keep turning me around until I have one or two titles that he needs to face me. But that day is coming, and I'm going to take the belts off of him. I'm going to take the monster mask off of him, as they say." So he's calling Inoue the little monster. He's saying that Stephen Fulton didn't want no smoke and avoided him as well. He wants a shot at the brass ring. He wants a shot at the crown. And I love a good comeback story. I'm all for a redemption story. I held a lot of things against Luis Nery. I shouldn't be doing that. I talk all this stuff on Instagram and in my own life about being professional and trying to approach life in a professional manner, try to approach boxing in a professional manner. So if I'm gonna do that, I can't be holding grudges against fighters, because first of all, that's not healthy, and second of all, we're all human. We're all the same sins he's committed, or him falling short in a major way. I can do the same thing in my own life. Who knows? The shoe could always be on the other foot. So I don't want to play holier than thou. God bless Luis Nery. I repent for what I said about him and what I haven't been saying about him, over these last few years. But great fight for him against Azar Hovhannisyan. And listen, man, once. I'm not going to sit here and say he should fight Inoue Fulton next because that's not fair to Inoue and Fulton. They deserve to get it on and see who's the best of the bunch. But man, oh man, Luis Nery should fight Inoue Fulton after. And if he can't fight them next, okay, let him fight Merjan. And if he can beat Merjan Akhmadaliev, who holds the other belts in the weight class, then he's unified champion, then you can make Inoue Fulton for undisputed. So listen, either way you cut it up, slice it, and dice it, Luis Nery, I want to see him back in the ring. I want to see him in the big fights. I want to see him in the big occasions because he has earned it. You know, I'm all about, you know, people always say I'm a hater. You know, I get that word thrown at me a lot in boxing. Sometimes it's from British fans. Sometimes it's from the Lomachenko fans. Sometimes it's from Canelo fans. Sometimes it's from, you know, the Mexican fans. Sometimes it's from, you know, Black American fans. You know, whatever the case may be. I get that word thrown at me a lot. But go check my track record. When a fighter earns his shot, I'm all for them getting this shot. And Luis Nery has more than earned his shot. I mean, feelings aside and unprofessionalism aside, if you just look at the guys he's beaten, the guy has a great resume. I mean, he's beat Shinsuke Yamanaka twice. Shinsuke Yamanaka was a fantastic bantamweight champion and a pound-for-pound fighter at the time that Nery stopped him. And mind you, a lot of these guys that you boxing fans like to hype up, they don't even have one win over a pound-for-pound fighter. He has 2 wins over a pound-for-pound fighter in Yamanaka, so there's that fight. He knocked out McJoe Arroyo, McWilliams Arroyo's brother, who was a good top contender. He knocked out Juan Carlos Payano, the former world champion. He beat Aaron Alameda, the same Aaron Alameda who gave my boy Angelo Leo a tough fight, who's a top 15, top 20 caliber guy, good fighter. Carlos Castro beat him, and I believe he beat him when he was undefeated. I could be wrong, but I believe he beat him when he was undefeated. Beat David Carmona, the wily veteran, and then now he has a classic fight against another solid top 10 contender in Azar Hovhannisyan. So once you get past the emotion and once you get past the unprofessionalism he's shown in his career, when you look at just the results, because at the end of the day, I always say it, boxing is a results-based business. Luis Nery has been a great fighter in the results department, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. So, shout out to him, and I think he's earned his stripes, and I want to give him his flowers. And before I end the video, I'll end it on this note. Shout out to my main man at ESPN Knockout, the judge and commentator for ESPN Knockout in Spanish. My dear friend here in Florida, Fernando Barbosa. Great boxing mind. I love talking to him about boxing because he loves boxing like I love boxing. And he told me like 3 weeks ago or a month ago when I was at the Don King show down here when Bermain Sterling fought Jonathan Guidry, he said, the fight that he thinks would be interesting would be Naoya Inoue versus Luis Nery. Now, I kind of looked at him funny at that time, but right now he looks really, really smart to me. So shout out to Fernando Barbosa. He will get his flowers as well in this video. But let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about the potential prospects of like Luis Nery fighting a Fulton or Inoue, and how do you think he'd match up stylistically with those two? And do you think, do you guys, the viewers, do you guys think he could beat any one of those two? Personally, I think him versus, I don't know. I have to think about it more and ponder it more. But I like the idea of him and Inoue. I think would be a good fight, just because I could see Inoue doing something what Azar Hovhannisyan did, but obviously Inoue is a much sharper and more compact puncher. And then I could see Stephen Fulton getting in that pocket and banging it out with him. So I think both fights are pretty interesting, actually, now that I think about it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you guys for all the support here on True School Sports. We're definitely growing, and I'm very appreciative of that. Make sure you guys keep supporting the channel. Take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. For more great boxing content just like this video, click right here and make sure you subscribe. Much love from sunny South Florida.